Travis Gerback, the latest in a line of some pretty good Michigan quarterbacks, and of course that list would have to include Jim Harbaugh. You know, when Jim Harbaugh left Michigan, I'm not so sure that a bunch of people figured he would end up being the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, but that's exactly what he's doing, and he's gotten a lot better at it, and he's absolutely loved in Chicago. They worship him there. The guy's just in great shape in Chicago. Well, Dave LewAllen went to Chicago earlier this week. He sat down and talked with Jim Harbaugh about Michigan football.
We're going to play in the Rose Bowl this year. I guarantee it. We'll beat Ohio State, and we'll be in Pasadena on January 1st. It's going to be a great football game from beginning to end. I think the team that wants it the most is going to win it, and that's going to be Michigan.
On the option, he pitches to Morris. Touchdown, Wolverines.
Jim Harbaugh delivered on his guarantee back in 1986, the Wolverines winning that year 26-24. And earlier this week, Greg Skrepenick made headlines by repeating Harbaugh's bold prediction.
Attaboy. Good for him. Good for Greg.
And not too many years ago, you did the same thing.
Good for Greg. That's great. I mean, that'll add a lot of spice to the game and that type of thing. And, you know, now I hope they go out and do it, and I'm sure they will. And Greg Skrepenick is a great football player, and he can back up just about whatever he says, in my opinion.
You know, when you made your guarantee, was that done just because you felt that strongly, or because it was one more thing that you wanted to motivate yourself and your team with?
We had come off a loss to Minnesota, and it came down to that if we beat Ohio State, we went to the Rose Bowl, and if we didn't beat Ohio State, then we were going to some other bowl. So, and my dream was to play in the Rose Bowl growing up at Michigan, and that was my only shot to do it. So that was mainly for myself and for my team.
Harbaugh is now established as the Bears' starting quarterback. He's 5 years removed from the Wolverines-Buckeyes rivalry, but remains very interested, and Harbaugh counts those Ohio State games among his most memorable experiences at Michigan.
There's always something about that game when the two teams come out of the locker rooms, and just those uniforms being on the field at the same time brings back a lot of memories, not only when I played, but when I was growing up and watching Rick Leach and Gordon Bell and Rob Lytle play against Archie Griffin and Corny Green and you know, all the great Ohio State players and Michigan players that have played in that series throughout the years, and I was glad to be a part of it. Just you know, listening to Bob Ufer call those Michigan-Ohio State games when I was growing up as a kid.
And the Wolverines, as they have so many times in their glorious 98-year history, are coming from behind the Buckeyes once again. Can they do it? We'll know in a matter of seconds. Up over the ball comes Walt Downey. Two tight ends in a balanced line. Ricky Leach under center at quarterback. Wide out to the right is White. It's Smitty deep and Davis close. Here comes White in motion across formation. Ricky Leach under center gives to Rosie Smith, and he's down. Roosevelt Smith, Little Roosevelt Smith picks up touchdown number 4 of the 1977 season.
There was always the thing that I looked forward to the most during the year was the big Michigan-Ohio State game, and you know, it's not that way anymore. That's not for me the pinnacle of the year like it was when I was growing up and when I was a player at Michigan, but you know, I still really enjoy watching the games and pull real hard for my team.
Jim Harbaugh grew up with Michigan football. His father, Jack, was a former Bo Schembechler assistant. Now, Bo loved Harbaugh's grit and determination. Mike Ditka is saying those same kinds of things about Harbaugh today, and there are similarities between these two coaches, Bo Schembechler and Mike Ditka.
He's the closest thing to that type of coaching style that there probably is in the NFL, and I feel very well prepared when I played at Michigan for Coach Ditka here.
Harbaugh feels Skrepenick is a certain first-round draft choice, and he says the Heisman Trophy is a lock for Desmond Howard.
I love watching him play. I get excited watching him and Elvis hook up with all those touchdown passes, and I brag about him here to the rest of my teammates and everything like that. And we haven't had a Heisman Trophy winner since Tom Harmon did it back in the 40s, I think, right? Something like that. So this is going to be another great moment in Michigan football history when Desmond picks it up in New York. So I'm excited for that too.
As for a prediction for today's game?
I'm out of the prediction for the Michigan-Ohio State game. That's not my area anymore. I doubt anybody really cares. But Greg Skrepenick guarantees victory. That's good enough for me.
Harbaugh's numbers aren't the NFL's most impressive, but he wins, just like at Michigan. And he'll be watching and rooting for the Wolverines against the Buckeyes today. For the Big Ten Ticket in Lake Forest, Illinois, I'm Dave LewAllen.
Well, wasn't it great listening to Bob Youthful once more, and Jim Harbaugh as well. All right, when we come back, a final look at today's game. Some thoughts from myself and Jay and Dave as the Big Ten Ticket continues from Ann Arbor. No matter what, it is roses for the Wolverines.